Welcome back, my beautiful friends here in the tri state area. You're listening to a moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams, in Hello Open Metaverse, brought to you by Animoca Brands. This week, we're featuring the awesome Armando Pantoja, who goes by the handle Tall Guy Tycoon, a speaker, social media influencer, investor, and software engineer. Armando is a respected thought leader in the cryptocurrency space, founding one of the first software companies to accept Bitcoin back in 2014 before it even was a thing. Impressively, he received the 2020 IBM Back to Work COVID Award, which recognized the best ideas on how blockchain technology can be applied to solve real world issues. Today, he's joining me to chat artificial intelligence, digital evolution, the metaverse, and his thoughts on a robot operated world. Now, the concept of the metaverse is based on key functions it will be able to provide, essentially. The key promises include a decentralized world, identity verification, smart contracts, and ETPs, exchange traded products. Now, when you combine that with generative artificial intelligence, what we call AI systems, it might feel like we've taken a giant leap closer to a sci fi reality where AIs are physical entities basically all around us. Computer based AI appears to be advancing at an unprecedented rate. Could it be the future that AI systems will need robotic bodies to interact with the world? And if so, will nightmarish ideas like the self repairing, shape shifting T 1000 robot from Terminator 2 movie come to fruition? And could a robot be created that could live forever? Lots and lots of questions, very few experts to ask, unless, of course, you're tuning in now, here to chat artificial intelligence, the metaverse, and how to put it all into perspective is the amazing Armando Pantoja. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me here today.
Absolutely. Okay, listen, I see your social media page. You seem to be covering AI in many of your social media posts. And as a rather large influencer in the space with over 500,000 followers and climbing, your savvy tech background and engineering background is propelling you in the space. Tech, talk to me here. How will artificial intelligence help shape the metaverse, in your opinion? And more importantly, what does that mean for Web3 users, Armando?
So there's a couple of ways that AI is going to affect the metaverse specifically, right? Is that AI, we have to remember, we have to go back. AI has been in development for 50, 60 years. As soon as computers were created, the next thought was how can we make these computers think independently? So that was the birth of AI shortly after the creation of the computer in the mid 20th century, in the mid 20th century, right? So AI is not only going to help us in the metaverse, it's going to help all types of what we're doing. Like even today, I read an article earlier yesterday. I have a 15-year history in software engineering. Is that ChatGPT has just announced they're going to use ChatGPT to replace software engineers completely. Now, this is where AI is going to step in and create great advancements for the metaverse and all these technologies. One of the problems of the metaverse right now is because we don't have the proper infrastructure to support it on the scale that we need for mass adoption. And what I mean by that is right now, the average person goes in the metaverse. It's clunky, right? The graphics aren't where they need to be. They're not photorealistic yet. So the average person won't jump on board until we get to that point. Early adopters will. Early people that like to be at, or the forefront of technologies, they'll jump on, but the mainstream population won't jump on until that happens. AI and these new technologies are going to help us grow that space exponentially because we're going to use the AI tools to create the better graphic system, better infrastructure so that the metaverse and technologies like this, such as Web3, can be used by everybody.
Without a doubt, they go hand in glove. You nailed it. And more importantly, it's going to propel the aesthetic, the visual aesthetic of it, where it feels exactly like the generation is expecting. Because when you look at
Exactly.
Gen Alpha and Gen Z, it doesn't cut it to just walk into
No.
clunkiness and things that are not visually stimulating. So I totally understand what you're saying. Now, when you
Computer technology did not take off until Mac invented the graphic user interface.
Exactly. And when you look at that now, let's couple that with the global metaverse market. Really, if you look at the estimations, they're estimated to surpass 1.3 trillion, but that's by the year 2030. So this growth will be driven, like you said, by newly adopted virtual economy trends combined with the rise of both crypto and online games. And the metaverse, without a doubt, is going to likely reshape social lifestyles, but it's going to take mass adoption. Now, let's move on to the sandbox. So Armando, the sandbox, a popular decentralized virtual world, clocked in more than 1 million users last year. And currently, there are over 200,000 active users each month. In the sandbox, we know that users can connect with their digital identity, they can make friends, and even have real emotions through these experiences. And it really doesn't matter where users are from or how old they are. The sandbox is a global digital nation of sorts. So, with this in mind, that platform has the potential to reshape social lifestyles. The 3 billion people are now digitally native. So the statistics are there. And the way to interact is with avatars in social worlds and across social platforms. But this kind of feels to me in my generation um, like we should be jumping into some level of investment surrounding the
Yeah.
space. Forget actually being part of it. So, what kind of business opportunities have you come across in the metaverse that have stood out? And what catalysts do you feel are needed for Web3 and the metaverse to become more mainstream?
So in the last 150 years, there's been three times where there have been mass millionaires created. One was the Industrial Revolution, early 1900s. The second was the internet boom of 1990s, and the third was blockchain technology. Right, that's when the more millionaires were created in those three technologies than anywhere else. So I believe that the fourth is going to be Web3 and the metaverse. And that's when a lot of people, because when these things come, they're paradigm shifts, they change everything. All the old people that played before, they no longer have the power that they had before to influence this new space. That's why a lot of new people, a lot of kids, a lot of younger people, a lot of people who are just innovators get in this space and make so much money and make so much impact. So saying that is that there's a lot of ways we can get involved. And there's really two big ways. There's a lot of ways, but I'm gonna narrow it down to two big ways, right? One is direct investment in the platforms and the infrastructure, right? And I'm gonna tell you this is that we go back to the 19, I talk a lot about history, so I'm gonna include history a lot.
I
We go
love it.
back to 1849, that was the gold rush, right? In the gold rush, the first people that came made a lot of money mining gold, right? They told everybody, it was in all the newspapers. The second wave of people came to mine that gold, but all the gold was gone. So the second wave of people that made the money were the people who understood what was coming next, the new wave of people, and sold those people the pickaxes, the shovels, the food, the housing. Those are the people who made all the money the second time. They actually made more money than the first wave of people who found the actual gold. In the metaverse, in these new technologies, we can use that same strategy. It's called the pick and shovel strategy, right? In that strategy, what does the metaverse need to function? It needs infrastructure, it needs processors, it needs people work, it needs a lot of things. Think about those things, right? What does the metaverse need to function? Server space with AWS, Amazon Web Services, uh, processors, graphic processing units, which NVIDIA provides. Those two companies, along with Microsoft, Google, all these other companies, they're going to benefit the most when the metaverse concept takes off mainstream. The second way you can get involved is by providing your services, providing your products in the metaverse, right?
Oh, yeah.
When a new industry is created, there's no competition. And with blockchain, right? If we go back to blockchain, when I first started to 2011 was when I first got into blockchain, got into crypto. It was anybody that jumped into it during that time made a lot of money. You didn't have to, it was no experts. You couldn't be an expert yet. It was only 2 years old, you know. So if you just got in, you learned 4 weeks of work, you were now an expert in blockchain. And people
Exactly.
they were charging, you know, I remember when Ethereum came out 2015, people that had maybe 4 weeks training was charging $500-600 an hour to program on to smart contracts, right?
Yep.
So that's where the second opportunity is use the skills you have now. Really, we need real estate agents there.
Yeah.
We need
And it's
consultants and
actually
all of that.
it's very revolutionary stuff. Like it's a great example that eventually, you know, when you look at even the pockets of investment that you just so very eloquently put, and thank you for that. But even if you go back to some of these technological investments that we can make. So the sandbox, I read this just yesterday, is going to partner with Kinetics. Kinetics it's a technology startup specializing in AI, and they're going to bring emotes. Emotes are animations that express emotion to video games and virtual worlds. So these emotes will allow users to animate avatars through these customized dance moves and physical interactions displayed in reality. So they have
Oh,
developed a unique AI that allows users to record movements with a phone's camera, right? Armando, with a phone's
really?
camera, which can then be applied
That's
to
crazy.
avatars. So this stuff is absolutely incredible. But of course, it
That's
takes the
nice.
sandbox to partner up with these amazing companies. All right, before we cut to a commercial break, we have about 3 minutes. I wanted to get your opinion on if you feel, do you think that personally the metaverse will eventually replace physical encounters? So, in my opinion, while the metaverse has already started demonstrating how people can engage socially in virtual worlds, incorporating AI with these environments is likely going to create better engagement. But to your point, it remains questionable if interactions in the metaverse will eventually replace physical engagements. What are your thoughts?
I think they will. And I look back at the telephone, right? Is that what happened with the telephone? Is that the telephone came out, right? And before the telephone, let's say like people were dating, like my parents dated, right? Back in the 60s, 70s or whatever. My father, before he was married to my mom, would just show up at the house, knock on the door. I'm here to call on what's going. This before telephone technology was relatively new. People would just show up. That was normal. Now it's seen as intrusive. If you met a guy, let's say at the mall, he showed up at your house the next day,
Yeah, no
you'll be
good.
like, he's crazy. Something's wrong. The
Yeah.
whole entire social construct changed because of a new technology. Now, when the metaverse does become mainstream, we're still going to have personal connections. We're still going to have, but it's going to be moved up the hierarchy of what's acceptable, right? Is that all these lower level conversations we have at work, maybe talk to your friends, maybe going, all this stuff will be taken over by the metaverse. So now you'll say, look, when I'm serious about somebody, maybe at a wedding, maybe at I want to meet a guy that I've been talking to online for a serious date after we've had 2 dates in the metaverse, or maybe after, for big events, we'll meet in person. But everything else will be taken over by the metaverse.
I love it. Well, listen, I'm going to cut to a commercial break, but you are amazing. The way you put things into perspective is just brilliant. And then, like Yatsu, said, co-founder of chairman of Animoca Brands, he was quoted saying that he believes that AI is going to enhance metaverse experiences, and specifically, one primitive example of this is chatbots. In video games, we constantly engage with non-player characters with
Exactly.
rudimentary character development, as he said, and
That's a
artificial
good idea.
intelligence changes this significantly, right? Think about it. They're going to
Exactly.
deepen and enhance engagement as well as create this deeper meaning and utility for the related ownership of their assets in the metaverse. So lots to look out for. All right, don't move a muscle, guys. You definitely have to check out Armando Pantoja, who goes by Tall Guy Tycoon. Definitely check him out on the gram at Tall Guy Tycoon. That was our Hello Open Metaverse segment brought to you by Animoca Brands. You're listening to a moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio, tri-state area. Don't move a muscle. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Animoca Brands. As a worldwide industry leader in digital entertainment, blockchain, and digital property rights, Animoca Brands plays a key role in the future growth of the open metaverse. During unstable times like these in burgeoning industries similar to blockchain, it's important to realize that blockchain can and will survive and eventually flourish, and industry-leading companies like Animoca Brands will guide the transformation into the future. Animoca Brands will keep building a better and fairer Web3 ecosystem, create impact for better, and bring true digital property rights to all internet users through NFTs and the open metaverse. For more information and to become part of the excitement, go to animocabrands.com. That's animocabrands.com.
Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to a Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcome back to our Hello Open Metaverse segment brought to you by Animoca Brands. We're joined by Armando Pantoja, who goes by the handle Tall Guy Tycoon. You've definitely seen him all over social media. And today we're chatting all about artificial intelligence, where we are headed, and if he believes this is the wave of the future. Welcome back, my friend.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me again.
All right, let's jump right in. So, interestingly enough, there's a new platform called humans.ai, and it's touted as the blockchain of artificial intelligence, and it's being used to mint super skills and voices that users can apply to avatars within different virtual worlds. So to put this into perspective, Armando, humans.ai lets users create digital voices, speaks in different languages, and implements synthetic voices that could prevent discrimination. So you can enter a Zoom call with a different voice, for instance, which could prevent discrimination if you wish to remain completely anonymous. And this will certainly reshape social lifestyles. Then voices are minted as non-fungible tokens to give users true ownership of their voice clips. So we see that now it's revolutionizing, like you said, social behavior. Very good example back to the telephone. So what will and will not be acceptable. Now you could come into a chat room and not even have to be you. You could hide behind the voice and the avatar. Although I love where it's headed as a technology, one can argue that hiding behind an avatar is not authentic and feels like catfish. What do you say to this?
One of my favorite movies of all time is My Fair Lady. Every time it's in town, I go watch it. And my favorite part that I love about this movie is about the science of linguistics, right? And I studied linguistics and language in college. I studied Spanish and German. And one of my favorite parts of that movie was that at the beginning, before they found Eliza, they were people would come up. These were two linguistics professors for people who haven't watched the movie, and they were very good at what they did. And they had a bet to see if they can figure out by the way somebody talked what street they lived on when they were a child in London. And they were able to do this 100% of the time because they could tell from inflection, from the way you said certain words, the speed and the tone of your voice, exactly where you came from socioeconomically, down to the street that you were lived on when you were a kid. And that's true in linguistics. We could tell if somebody's from the South, from the North, they had money, they didn't have money, they were educated or not. We can tell that from voices. So I wouldn't personally do it because I feel like a voice is who I am. But I don't speak perfect English. I think few of us do, but I think that adds to my personality. But I could feel like some people would feel like that because I think that like I'm from the South, but I've lost a lot of my Southern accent. But I feel like sometimes people in the North see people in the South as like less educated or something like that. Maybe vice versa also, maybe discrimination toward people from the North. So I could see why people would use that. But like I said, I wouldn't do it, but I could see the need for the technology.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I echo your sentiment 1,000%. And it's almost like walking into a room and not taking your sunglasses off, right? If you're trying to
Yeah.
get a job and you keep your sunglasses on because you don't want them to see your eyes, you lack that human interaction. So to your point, I want to hear the voice. I want to know who I'm talking to. I don't want some computer generated,
Yeah.
voice that I may or may not actually like after I hire them, because unless I'm interacting with an avatar 99% of my day, I will have to eventually, use that
Well, I'd
person.
eventually talk to them anyway.
Exactly. So it kind of feels counterproductive, but yeah. All right. Well, talk to me about what you have going on. What exciting projects do you have lined up this year?
Oh, so the biggest thing I'm working on right now is Core Fit. It's called Core Fitness. We're building a proof of concept here in Florida in a warehouse. It's a completely automated, AI-driven cycling studio. So what we're going to do is different phases. The first phase is we're going to create the studio where it's completely automated, to where a cycling instructor can come in, they can scan in. Uh, they scan in with their face, they scan in with their voice, biometrics to scan in. So we don't need any more gym cards anymore. I don't know why gyms use that anyway, but we
Yeah.
don't need those anymore. So she comes in, scans in, or whoever, and she has access to the studio for a predetermined. So her people can come in, they can go to a cycling class. We have cameras all over the place. So AI generates mashups of the different angles of the scenes or whatever, sends the content to her after her class. She can use it or he can use it however they want. Charges the cycling instructor's account and sends an API request to a cleaning company who comes in, cleans it all up. So it's completely automated. The reason why we do this is we're creating an investment opportunity for new business owners, right? So if somebody has access to a space or they can easily acquire it, they can franchise with us. We'll come in, put all the equipment in, whatever, and they can manage it all from their laptop at home. So they don't have to
Wow.
be in the office. They don't have to manage any staff. They don't have to manage anything like that. It's all automated completely. It's a small footprint. You only need about 2,000 square feet of space. And it's all driven by technology, AI, and maybe we'll include blockchain sometime in the future. But that's what it's what's
Very
going to be.
proprietary stuff. Very,
Yeah.
very proprietary stuff. Well, kudos to you. It seems like you have finally found your calling. You have your engineer experience there leading the way, and your massive knowledge of cryptocurrency, blockchain, and how it all functions together. And that's so important because you get it. You understand how it all works. You do your homework.
One more thing I want to talk about is that we're in the works right now. Also, this is good for New York, right? So I want to say, because goes out a lot to the people in New York, is that we're working with the mayor of New York right now to create a coding program for inner city kids in Brooklyn later on this year. So if you guys are interested in that, getting your kids into these robotics, into these artificial intelligence classes that we're going to do the first one's going to be a week. We're going to take kids to a boot camp to get them interested, to get them involved into these technologies. So that's coming in the first or second quarter of this year. Follow me on Instagram, Tall Guy Tycoon, to keep updated about the developments.
Oh, for sure. We're going to throw lots of listeners and viewers your way, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on. Very insightful interview. Wishing you all the best of luck for all your endeavors. You're definitely on our radar, and we'd love to have you back on very soon.
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys having me. Thank you.
You got it. Lots to look out for. That was our Hello Open Metaverse segment brought to you by Animoca Brands. And that was the amazing Armando Pantoja, who goes by the handle Tall Guy Tycoon. Definitely check him out on the gram at Tall Guy Tycoon, or head directly to their website at whoistallguytycoon.com. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.